Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast, where we discuss the latest and greatest news in the world of sports. I am Ben.
And I'm Alex.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Just returning from vacation,
Okay.
ready to start this bad boy.
I'm jealous. I haven't had a vacation in a couple years.
I never do vacations. I've done like 2. This is the first time I've been on a plane in probably 10 years.
Wow. Up until my brother went to college, I hadn't been on a plane for 10 years.
I forgot how small airplanes are.
Yeah.
And with how big I am, like 6 foot.
Yeah.
My legs
it's a
were
cramped
just
space.
dying.
I know what you mean. I'm a couple inches taller than you, and I never have room at all to sit.
And it seemed like the person in front of me going there and coming back just had to lean their chair back, which is like just the icing on the cake for terrible.
And you try to eat, and then they slam their seat.
I couldn't even put my tray down without it hitting my chest. I mean, I didn't really need it because we did night flights anyway, so I was trying to sleep, but
Gotcha.
it would have been terrible. But enough about that. Let's get into the podcast.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the NBA and the NBA Finals, and we're going to get into a little bit of baseball news for you guys this week. But we're going to start with the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Tuesday night, tonight actually, the Warriors are playing at Golden State. Golden State leads the series.
The game's in...
I'm sorry, OKC.
OKC.
I was reading it and said it wrong.
Yeah.
And OKC leads the series 2-1. Did you watch the last game?
No, I was on the trip. We didn't even have Wi-Fi for some of the time. So, but I did see the highlights, saw the box score. So
yeah, it was.
Obviously, pretty good. I didn't watch it because there wasn't much to watch if you're a Warrior fan.
Yeah, well, let me put it this way. So Steph Curry had 24 points on 28 shots. He was 3 for 11 from 3-point range, which was that 3 for 11. That 33% was the best on the team that night.
Yeah, that's
from 3.
Which is obviously the Warriors' game. Is they're the long ball.
Exactly.
They shoot the
Yeah. So they didn't.
If they're not hitting those, it's not a good night for them.
Yeah, their team 3-point percentage was 30.3.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, Draymond Green was 6 points on 1 of 11 shots.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about with Draymond Green.
He was 4 for 4, I think, on his free throws, but he only made 1 shot from the field. It was a pretty ugly game. I'll tell you what. It wasn't the Warriors. It didn't look like the Warriors. It wasn't their game. They looked sluggish. As opposed to, so Durant led the team with 33 points on 10 from 15 from the field.
Yeah, he was killing it.
He only had 1 3-pointer, but he was 12 for 12 at the line.
Yeah.
And Westbrook had 30 points on 10 for 19 from the field and added 1 3-pointer also. He was 9 for 11 at the line. So
yeah, tonight's a huge game. The Warriors last year, they were down 2-1 against the Cavs and then against the Grizzlies, and they were able to bounce back in both those series and win the series. But
they never had a game like that. It wasn't that they lost. It was
they're getting blown out.
They got embarrassed. They were trailing by 25 at halftime.
It's crazy. We've had a lot of blowouts in these series, the East and the West. Cavs won Game 2 and Game 1 blowout fashion. The Warriors won Game 2 in blowout fashion, and then the Thunder come back and blow out the Warriors in Game 3. So we've really only had Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals was pretty competitive, and then last night's game between the Cavs and Toronto was competitive in the fourth, but it was getting out of hand there in the second quarter and early in the third quarter until the Cavs came back.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Cavs. They're kind of similar to the Warriors, and you expected it at this point to be Warriors, Cavs in the finals. You didn't expect the Raptors are putting up quite a fight, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little later. So we're going to talk about the Warriors and the Thunder right now.
Yeah. So give me some news on Draymond Green and Adams.
Well, sort of the big talk now is, should Draymond Green have been suspended for this game coming up, or even multiple games? There were some people thinking he should have got maybe a 2-game suspension, a 1-game suspension. Obviously, he didn't get suspended at all. He got the flagrant 1. So now it actually got
upgraded to a flagrant 2.
Right. So if he gets another flagrant foul, then he will be suspended for a game. So he's got to kind of watch that. And everyone Thunder-based, Westbrook's been really vocal. Adams has been really vocal that he's really a dirty player.
Yeah, Westbrook, the conference after the game, the post-game conference, he was saying he did it on purpose, and, it just shows you the kind of player he is and stuff like that. They don't have any love lost there, it looks like, at all.
Yeah, it's funny because I look at the play. Oh, God, I think I've looked at it probably 20 times. And
I saw a lot of replays of it. I didn't get to watch the second half of that game, so I missed that part. But I saw the replays
the play, though, right?
Yeah. I was like, what did he do? And I saw him, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
whoa.
I don't know if it's warrant of a suspension, because you look at it, I feel like it's probably not it's hard to say that is intentional because there is always when you're going up for a shot, the ball gets slapped out of your hand. Every player sort of flails their arms and legs to try and get a call. They scream, try and get the ref to blow something. So I don't know if that's really intentional. And to me, I would not have suspended him.
No, I think it was the right call because it's speculation, I suppose, on if that's intentional or not. And the only person that knows if it was or not is Draymond.
Right.
But
him and God will only know.
I find that weird, though, is he did kind of get a little extension on that. Like, it did look like he was trying to kick him. It was a little late,
I thought. I thought the legs came up a little late, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, from that kind of point of view, like, guys kick their legs around all the time, but it just looked like he was kind of going
to be honest, for the sport, for the fan, for the teams, I'm glad there was no suspension. Because imagine this game tonight with the Warriors not having Draymond Green playing.
Yeah, you don't want to see that kind of stuff because then you get the fans there saying, oh, well, we lost because Draymond wasn't on the floor.
Exactly.
Or you get all that stuff that you don't want from the sport. So I think it's better that he's not suspended.
Yeah, because, Draymond's probably their third best player. But he might be their most valuable because everything he brings, the defense, the rebounding, scoring, passing,
the all-around game he has.
Great three-point shooter.
I think he's more valuable in the sense of he's like a stretch 3-4 kind of guy. And he can play more positions, and he's a real valuable guy off the bench if he wasn't a starter. If some team had better players, it's just
he's a stud.
He's a big part of their offense and defense. So
he's really obviously Curry's the heart and soul of the team, but I feel like Draymond's the sort of emotional leader. He's really an emotional player.
Yeah, I see that Curry's obviously the best, but he's the best player in the league. But he's obviously
I'd say behind LeBron.
I don't know.
I'd still put LeBron
after this year.
I mean, Curry might put up more of a statistical, but I still think LeBron's probably the best player in the league.
Okay, I mean that's fair enough.
He is winding down. I mean, he's probably on the tail end of his prime.
True.
Curry's entering his prime probably, but
well, I mean, what I mean is you have. The best player on the team is Curry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you look at the
best
guy
player in the series.
Yeah, and then you look at Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
I forgot his name for a second. Klay Thompson, who could be the best player on plenty of teams.
Yeah,
put him on more than half the teams in the NBA. He's the best player.
He's probably the best shooter not named Stephen Curry in the planet.
Yeah, best three-point
Which is crazy because you have probably the two best shooters in the world on the same team.
And then you have a guy like Draymond. So losing him, if he would have got suspended, and so I think it's a good thing they didn't suspend him.
I think it's interesting because I feel like if that's a lesser player, it's probably a suspension. Like I don't know. I'm just gonna name like
and that was Adams,
Leandro Barbosa or something. I don't know. It's probably a suspension.
No, I said Aldridge, but no.
Because it's Draymond Green, I don't think it is though. So tonight's a huge game. I feel like the Warriors lose tonight.
Well, yeah, they're down 2-1. You think going down 3-1 is kind of unavoidable? Like that's not something they
I don't see them
do.
Winning 3 in a row against OKC, especially with how Durant and Westbrook have been playing.
If OKC plays anything like they played in the first game, that defense, I think Curry was held. He only played, I think, 26 minutes that game. They held him out until the last 5 minutes of the first quarter, but he played well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He ended up playing well, and it was a very close game until the end there. But if they play the defense that they played in that first game, it's gonna be hard for them to come back from 3-1, let alone 2-1 right now.
Yeah, I think this is probably obviously everyone looked at the Warriors against the Spurs.
Yeah,
everyone really just wrote off the Thunder all season until recently when they beat the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting because now that you look at it, the Thunder are probably the hardest team for the Warriors.
They play them
because
the right
of their
way.
athleticism and because of the matchups.
Yeah,
if you look at the matchup of Westbrook against Curry, Westbrook is the guy to slow down Stephen Curry because he's
athletic enough.
He's athletic. He's faster than him.
Mm-hmm.
Westbrook was always been a great defender, even when he was at UCLA. I think he won Defensive Player of the Year one year.
I think he did.
So he's always been a great defender, and he's just so athletic, so fast. He can really match him. Because to be honest, I'd probably say Westbrook is probably the second best point guard in the NBA behind Curry. So
yeah,
this is pretty interesting.
And Curry's a really good defensive point guard too, so you can't take that away from him. But it's two different kind of styles.
Yeah, you have Curry's the shooter, or if the crafty guy. You have Westbrook more of the powerhouse, the athletic, physical player. So
yeah, I agree with you.
Clashing styles.
But we're gonna take a quick break, real quick, from our Golden State Media Concepts Sports podcast, and a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. And thank you for coming back and joining us here at the Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast. So, last little bit of information here on the Western Conference Finals. Give me a prediction tonight. How do you see the game going?
I mean, the Warriors are such a good team. They only lost 9 games all year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in the regular season, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't see them losing to OKC tonight. I expect probably a close game, a physical game. I think the Warriors know they need to win this game. I think they come back and win tonight.
I think it's a must-win game. I think if they don't win this game, it's going to be hard. I think they have the last 2 games in Golden State, so I can never say never. But it's not a place you want to be 3-1 against OKC.
Anyone.
Yeah, especially a team that can just turn on the offense like the Thunder.
Right. I think the Thunder, it's interesting because they have those bigs to really match up that the Warriors don't. Between Adams, Cantor, and Ibaka. Yeah, they don't have those bigs like that, the Warriors.
If Bogut's not on the field and on the court or anything, and even Harrison Barnes, for the most part, he's a big dude, but
he's more of a wing player.
He's more of a wing player, and they don't really have size, and that's kind of they kind of bully him around a bit, which is always what I said is if you get a team that's quick enough but has that size, you can limit a lot of the Warriors' style of play.
Yeah, I think sports really is just a game of matchups, but especially in basketball, because you have so few players on the court, field, pitch, whatever you want to say, as opposed to other sports. So you have those matchups you can really exploit, and you can really turn things up.
I agree with you. I say, it's going to be a close game, but I want to say the Warriors pull this one out.
Yeah, I just don't see
it's hard to bet against them after this kind of season.
Exactly.
Like, it's hard to – how many times did they lose back-to-back games?
I don't think they lost a back-to-back game.
I don't know.
Tonight would probably be the first one.
I don't know.
I mean,
because they lost, they won, they lost.
They only lost 9 games. I don't see how they could lose a back-to-back.
I'd have to look it up.
We'd have to look it up, but maybe we'll get that up if we can. But we're gonna move on to talk about the Eastern Conference Finals now. You had Game 4 last night between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. We had the Raptors come back at home and win Game 4, so the series is now tied 2-2. The final score was 105-99. The Raptors had a 16-point lead at halftime, but then the Cavs really came back, and they actually took the lead in the fourth quarter there, but then they weren't able to hold on, and the Cavs lost the game to the Raptors. So we have it tied 2-2 now. Did you see the game, Alex? What did you find out about it?
I watched the game.
What was your thoughts?
I thought it was a weird kind of game to watch. It was like I've never sat here and vocally been like, yeah, man, the Toronto Raptors are really on the up and up.
Right.
And it's weird to see them like almost be good sometimes. And so it was, the Cavaliers have LeBron James, who, like we were saying, arguably is the best player in basketball compared to some people, that would say Curry or it's always between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I
feel like a couple years ago you would have thrown Durant in the mix, but I think Curry's probably passed up Durant a little bit.
It was a weird game to watch because it was a competitive game, but you wouldn't know that at the same time by only catching some of it. Like, you had to watch the entire game.
Okay.
It's one of those games that looking at the stat line, doesn't really give you the full idea of the game. So pretty much Toronto.
Yeah, it looks like there was sort of a tale of two halves.
So the Toronto really took away, just lifted off there in the second, outscoring them 30-17 in the second half
second quarter.
Yeah, I'm sorry, second quarter where Cleveland was only trailing Toronto by 3 at that time to the start of the second. They really took over and kind of handled the game, and then from there, the Cavs outscored them the next third and fourth. It was really that second quarter that kind of propelled them to that win.
Right.
And
the Cavs scored on, I think, 11 possessions in a row in the second half there. Maybe I think it was the fourth quarter, but they scored 11 possessions in a row. So that really catapulted them back up there after they were trailing.
Well, the craziest thing to me is you see, and I was watching SportsCenter last night, and it's kind of the thing that they say is a young coach's fault. LeBron James played 46 minutes last night.
That's crazy.
He didn't sit a minute of the second half. And, I mean, he played well. He had 29 points on 11 of 16.
Really efficient. 9 rebounds, 6 assists.
He only had 1 three-pointer. J.R. Smith, well, now that I see that.
J.R. Smith's such a
3
loose
for
cannon.
11.
He either has 30 points or he has 3. I mean,
But the typical, LeBron and Kyrie kind of led the way. Kyrie playing 39 minutes there with 26 points. Pretty similar game, 11 for 21, 1 for 1 from the line. Had a pretty good assist today with 6, just like LeBron. So they played their kind of game.
Right.
I just think that their defense almost, they were out-rebounded this entire game. And
I know Biyombo really
Biyombo got 11 defensive rebounds on his own.
Biyombo in Game 3 had 26 rebounds.
That's pretty good.
That's crazy. I think the Cavaliers, obviously, before going into Game 3, actually, they hadn't even lost a game in the playoffs. And they were shooting close to 50% from three. Mm-hmm. And then in the last two games, like you can scroll up and look at the three-point percentage from the game. Their three-point percentage has just tanked. Like
the Cavaliers,
look at this, like J.R. Smith, 3 of 11 from three.
Yeah, their overall three-point percentage was 31.7%.
Right,
13 for 41 shooting from.
Yeah, so they were in the series before Detroit and Atlanta. They were hitting these threes.
Yeah,
and in Game 3 and Game 4, they just
Toronto
said, okay, we're gonna let you live and die by the three. Mm-hmm. And right now they're dying by the three because they're not hitting them.
I compare it kind of like to the Warriors. When you shoot 3 for 11 on your three, clearly it's
Kevin Love 2 of 7 from three.
Yeah, clearly you're looking at a team that if you're putting up 11 3-pointers, I don't think you're coming off screens on every one of those. They're
probably contested.
They're taking them. They're contested or they're giving you what they want to give you, and you have guys who 3 for 8, it's okay. 2 for 7, that's okay. 3 for 11, that's bad. 0 for 3, 0 for 1.
Channing Frye shot 4 of 8 from three. That's really good.
At least
he's obviously
50%.
the lone wolf in the
Yeah, he's
team
the only one that really
for Game 4.
Yeah, and it's just that their offense has looked off to me. The Cleveland offense.
Yeah,
and
they're not. They're not attacking the basket.
Them.
I mean, look at that. They shot 9 free throws the whole game.
Yeah, and
they shot 9 free throws.
Yeah, and 6 of them were LeBron.
Yeah,
you have to get
oh my
playoff
God.
basketball.
Kyrie shot 1 free throw.
Playoff basketball, you need to make your shots. You need to take the smart shots. And you need to get to the line. You need to get to the line, and
they're not attacking.
And they're not attacking. They, like you said, they had 9 free throws. That's opposed to
19
that the Raptors had, and that you can look at it as that's really what is going to separate them. For all we know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the perfect memory or anything, but for all we know, a lot of those free throws could have came in the second quarter, which is really what propelled them to that kind of quarter before the half.
Yep.
They just don't look to me like the same team they looked like in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Toronto had the 2 games at home, so maybe that plays a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But so we have Game 5 coming up back in Cleveland.
Yes.
If you're a Cleveland fan, if you're the Cavaliers, are you worried? You think they still got the series, or?
I almost find that, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I find that the Cleveland Cavalier fans are kind of like almost blind to their issues sometimes. Where they're like, oh, it's fine,
they'll be all right.
We're coming home, they'll be fine. We have LeBron, we have Kyrie, we have Kevin Love. Like, I look at it.
So you're saying there should definitely be some worry there?
I think they should be worried only because they haven't looked like they did and dropped 2 straight like they did.
But
in this fashion.
Do you think that changes because they're coming home? Game 5's in Cleveland.
I think they need to be home. I think that it's good they're going home because I hope that it changes and kind of shifts them around a bit, because I think if they had another game in Toronto, they could very much be looking at a 3-2 game series.
Yeah, it's crazy because Toronto, even the series now, and Lowry and DeRozan are actually playing really well. Like, DeRozan had 32 last night.
Yeah, DeRozan had 32 points on 14 from 23, and Lowry had 35.
Yeah, so those two really carried them.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at
points.
Yeah, you look at Scola, played 14 minutes. He didn't have a point.
No, he took 1 shot too.
He took 2 shots. He took 1 3-pointer, weirdly enough, and just 1 shot, and he missed them both. And you have DeMar Carroll, who had 11, and then Biyombo, who's
the only other player in double figures was Carroll at 11.
Yeah, and then Biyombo's not really out there for points, but I mean,
he's there for his defense.
He played 42 minutes, And
Yeah,
in relation, Kyrie and DeRozan played 44 and 40 minutes, collectively.
Yeah, they're playing really well. Lowry in the Heat series and the Pacers series, both those series went to Game 7s. Mm-hmm. He really struggled in those series, but late in the Heat series, he really turned it on. Mm-hmm. So now that he's finding his groove back, Raptors are playing a lot better.
Yeah,
I still think it's the Cavs series. They have the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
I think they have the better team. They have the home court advantage.
Okay.
But I think there definitely needs to be a worry there. Toronto's not going to roll over and let you just beat them all over the place.
Yeah, no, they're not. And I mean, and if you look at Patterson too, coming off the bench, he played 34 minutes last night.
Yeah.
I mean, their bench is playing the way they need him to play, and I'm not saying that the Cavs bench isn't. I mean, the Cavs bench had pretty solid production, honestly, even more so somewhat than some of these starters. With Tristan Thompson having really 2 points. Yeah, Fry played great. Dellavedova always seems to come out and play okay. He only had 2 points last night. So physical. He's such a good defender. Yeah, I mean, he had 5 assists, no steals or anything. He had 1 block, but I think it comes down to it too. I mean, Kyrie Irving had 4 turnovers last night. Tristan Thompson had 2 turnovers. You look at, they had 10 total turnovers as a team.
As did Toronto.
Had 8.
Oh, 8, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not much of a turnover game. So it really comes down to me, is just the opportunistic time. Get in the free throw line. Making the shots you need to make when you need to make them.
And I think probably in Game 5, obviously the Cavs are going to come back and look at tape and analyze what they need to do to get better. And I think they probably will. Start attacking more, especially LeBron. He's such a physical guy. He's not a perimeter player. He's a guy who wants to attack.
I mean, you can see, he had 6 free throws himself.
Yeah, he was the only guy.
He really had
66% of the team's free throw shots. So.
Yeah, there's only 2 other players that had free throw shots, and that's Shumpert and Kyrie.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like that same old that Kyrie. Not Kyrie. That LeBron's doing it all on his own again.
Yeah, Love has really struggled in last night, and then in Game 3, he's really got to turn it back up.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played in the fourth quarter. There was a little bit of injury concern last night. I think he stepped on the ref's foot and turned his ankle and knee. But he said post game that he was okay to go. But Tyronn Lue never put him in. So they have some days to regroup, and it's not like they're. Obviously, I'd rather be the Cavs right now than the Warriors. So they still are there. They still have a lot better of a chance. So
I'd rather be in a tied situation. But then again, for all we know, they can be in a tight situation.
Yeah.
But we'll take one more quick break here at Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast, and we'll come back to you with some MLB news. We'll be right back. And thank you again for joining us. We have some MLB news for you guys today. We'll cover Jackie Bradley Jr., the wicked, if you want to use the Boston vernacular, the wicked awesome player for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He extended Sunday his hit streak to 27 games. And has a chance to do it tonight as well, to extend it to 28 games. The Red Sox are playing the Rockies at home today at 4:10. I don't know if that's Pacific Standard Time.
That's our time, yeah. Because that'll be back in Boston, which will be 7.
Yeah, so he has a chance to extend that to 28 games. It's pretty impressive what he's doing right now.
You know what I find crazy?
What's that?
How impressive this is? He's not even halfway yet.
Yeah.
If he got a hit tonight, that would put him literally at the halfway mark.
Mm-hmm. And
he's got a hit for almost a month straight. And
exactly.
He's not even at halfway yet.
And as of right now, through his 27-game hit streak, he's batting .408.
Yeah, he's on a tear.
Only 3 Red Sox players have ever had that streak that long. And if he hits for 28 tonight, he ties an all-time great Red Sox player. I just forget his name. It's Joe something. Because I thought they were talking about Joe DiMaggio for a second. Oh, it's Dom DiMaggio. So if he...
younger brother.
Yeah, so Joe's younger brother, Dom, for the longest hitting streak in Red Sox history. So if he gets 28 hits today, he passes... Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's 7 games away from that. He had 56 would be...
That's the record.
DiMaggio, 56. His brother... Yeah, so he's 7 games from tying his brother. Okay, so it's not tonight, but...
How long do you think this goes on for?
34.
Prediction. 34?
No, I'm sorry, 34 would be tying Dom.
Okay. What's your prediction? How long? How many games?
Man, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, so Dom DiMaggio has the record for the Red Sox at 34.
Yeah.
Followed by Nomar Garciaparra, who's one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah, he's a Boston legend.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then you have Speaker from 1912, long time ago, with 30, and then followed by another one of my favorite Boston players until he went to the Yankees, Johnny Damon with 29, and
or as some call him now, Johnny Demon.
That's pretty good. I like that.
You ever heard that?
No, I never heard that. I liked him when he was all bum looking with long hair and everything.
Yeah, and then he went on that reality show on E! Channel where they made him over. I forget what it's called, but it was like.
Oh, they cut his hair.
They shaved him and everything. So.
Oh man.
He started to look clean cut again,
mm-hmm.
but.
Well, to answer your question on how long it goes, I don't know, man. it's
so unpredictable.
These hit streaks are unpredictable. I say he at least gets to 30. Let's just go there. He at least gets to 30, which would put him.
That'd be three more games.
That would put 3 more games. Well, yeah, and that would put him on par with.
30's getting there.
He would pass Damon and Wade Boggs.
So that would tie him with
tonight if he has
tonight
if he has a hit streak. If he extends his hit streak, he ties Wade, and then the next game would be Johnny, and then no more. So, man, I think he can get to 30 with the way he's hitting. Like I said, he's hitting 408 through his streak right now, which is better than DiMaggio batted in his first 27 games. That's backwards with a 377 average in the first 7. I'm talking again 27 of his 56 in 41. That's just. Like, that's crazy to think about. And it's not the same kind of hits. And people, compare it like, oh, DiMaggio wasn't hitting, the same level of pitching now,
Yeah, I was going to say, now. I think it's so much harder now because you have
guys, you have specialists, left-handed specialists. Yeah, my brother and I were talking about this the other day. It's more impressive now, I feel like, because you have guys that are, specialty guys like Javier Lopez for the Giants, who's purely
he's a
left-handed guy. He'll come in for left-handers.
He'll come in if he's the lefty in the lineup, and then he might face one batter.
Exactly.
Whether he gets him out or not.
Exactly. Or you have guys that are specialists for just closers or long relievers, guys that have stuff, that it's just so impressive nowadays. And he was hitting tops like, I don't know what tops pitch back then would have been, like 92 maybe.
Yeah, people are throwing gas now. People are throwing
you have guys like
miles an hour.
Yeah, you have guys like Hunter Strickland or Aroldis Chapman.
Chapman throws
101 miles an hour, sometimes from Chapman. Like, It is so impressive nowadays to see these kind of hit streaks, and I think the last impressive hit streak didn't even get to 25 games.
Yeah, I remember Dan Uggla. I think he got to 33.
Okay.
He was on the Marlins. I want to say it was like 4 or 5 years ago. It gets to 33, and then that's the longest I can remember recently.
Well, I mean, it's just a trend too with the Red Sox this season so far. They're number 1 in runs.
They're killing it on
offense.
They're
first in batting average. They're first in on-base percentage and first in slugging percentage.
And a lot of that has really been of recent times. I think they went on a streak of scoring 10-plus runs a game. I think it was like at least 6 games.
Well, you have a guy like Ortiz who, on Sunday,
having a great final year.
Yeah, on Sunday he went 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs. That's, for a guy who's retiring.
Yeah, and then they have Xavier Bogaerts. He leads the AL in hitting. He has the highest average. So they're really tearing it up on offense.
Yeah, and to answer your question, they played the 3-game stretch against the A's earlier this month, and they won each 3 of those games 13-14. Yeah, by.
And then they beat the Astros 11-1 in that streak too.
Yeah, a couple weeks later. Yeah, not a couple games later. Excuse me. The next series, and they beat the Astros 11-1 and 10-9. So do
you think they keep this up though?
7
they can't
games.
Keep this up, can they?
That's that's too hard of a pace to keep up, I find.
There's no way.
But
I mean, as a team, they're batting .296. Well, practically hitting .300 as a team.
I mean, look at it too. You have a guy like Jackie Bradley Jr. with what he's doing. You have Ortiz with what he's doing. Then you have a guy like Mookie Betts, who they say Darren Erstad had 100 RBIs as leadoff man in 2000, most in the past 100 years. Mookie Betts is on pace for 122 RBIs from the leadoff spot.
On pace for 144 runs.
Yeah, that's insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is
because you think of a leadoff hitter's not getting RBIs. He's just getting on base, allowing, third, your cleanup hitter, your 5th hitter to really clean you up and get you home. So
yeah, excuse me. So in the history of the MLB, ESPN has a writer that says 4 players have managed 125 plus runs and RBIs and a 30 by 30 numbers in a single year. Ken Williams, Ellis Burks, Larry Walker, and Jeff Bagwell, all very good players.
Yeah, Bagwell, I remember.
Yeah, Mookie, I love Jeff Bagwell. Mookie Betts' paces are 144 runs, 122 RBIs, like we were saying, 33 home runs, and 29 stolen bases.
Yeah,
those are MVP numbers.
Definitely,
most definitely from 3 guys on their team.
Obviously, we're
not even
2
that
months
All-Star
into the
break.
season.
Exactly.
We have a long time to go.
Exactly, and those on pace are always going to change. But you're looking at a Red Sox team that has 3 MVP candidates alone in their offense.
Yeah, I'm actually happy about what Bradley's doing because this is sort of late news, but you had last week, you had the base brawl,
Yeah.
Odor, Batista. People are actually getting to talk about baseball now, which
Yeah.
in May you don't talk about baseball. You're not talking about
Exactly.
baseball till September, October. So there's some baseball storylines, which is great for the game because the game's sort of dying off with the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
So, also you have Chris Sale, who's pitching tonight for the White Sox. He's going for 10 wins and 10 starts to start the season. His ERA is only 1.58. His strikeout to walk ratio is like above 6. He's just tearing it up, And it's interesting because we found out that they're playing the Indians tonight, and he's going up against pitching Josh Tomlin, who's also undefeated, who's 6-0 with an ERA of 3.56. So
yeah, it's a good pitching matchup.
yeah, you could see one of them take their first loss of the season.
Yeah,
obviously you never know. You could have a no decision, but
exactly. Yeah, we can. It's very well to look. And it's Sale. And you said the Indians. Those aren't great offenses.
Yeah, the White Sox are doing great. They're first.
They're looking good so
AL
far.
Central.
Though.
So,
so I would say, Sale's almost lights out.
He's a stud, man.
So
you might say he's obviously. You look at people like Kershaw, Arrieta, Bumgarner, probably the best pitchers.
Cueto right now too.
Cueto's killing it, but I think you can put Sale probably up there as probably the best pitcher
probably
in the
best
game.
Right-handed pitcher in the AL right now.
Yeah,
hands
definitely.
Down. Definitely probably the best right-handed pitcher in the AL.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Yeah.
He's been doing great for a lot of seasons now, but he seems like he's really propelling himself to. He's definitely the Cy Young favorite, but
in the AL, 100%. I would say right now, if the season ended right now, it would be Sale and Arrieta.
Yeah, Arrieta is such a good pitcher, man.
It would be hard not to give it to Kershaw right now with how he's pitching, but Arrieta's just
won it last year.
He just lights out exactly. And not to get too far away from baseball and Chris Sale, but also, I'd say 3 candidates for MVP. Xander Bogaerts is hitting 346 on the season right now.
Yeah, he leads the AL in hitting.
Slugging percentage 495 and a OBP of 397. In relation, he's hitting 346. David Ortiz, who's lights out this year, 11 home runs, leads the team, 37 runs batted, and he's only batting. He's batting 329.
Yeah, only 329.
And that's
it's not good. It's not that bad.
346 on a team is usually leading the team. Usually.
You mean 329?
346 for Xander Bogaerts.
Well, he is leading the team. But you're talking about Ortiz, right? At 329.
Well, I'm saying, and then you look back at, you look at Jackie Bradley Jr. Jackie Bradley Jr.'s hitting 342. So even hit 346 leads the team. There's not a guy like Rutledge. Rutledge is batting 371. Obviously, that's a not everyday starter.
But just go down the list. Look at that. Every guy.
Look how many guys are in. You have Travis Shaw.
7 guys hitting 300.
You have Travis Shaw 305. Hanley Ramirez 315. David Ortiz 329. You have Jackie Bradley Jr. 342. 346 with Xander Bogaerts. Like this team. Look out for this team.
They're hitting. They're like hitting at a historic pace.
Exactly. We were going to talk about last week. They're on pace for their best offensive statistical season of all time for a franchise that's been around for 100+ years.
Yeah.
And to bring that full circle, I would love to see Chris Sale face the Red Sox.
It's crazy because the Red Sox, they had their little run there where they won a couple of World Series, but then the last few years they've really dipped off. The last couple of years they haven't
since
even had
13 when they won their last World Series in 13. Yeah,
right. They haven't even had seasons of where they have a winning record, and now all of a sudden just bam, they're just hitting out of nowhere. It's crazy.
It's definitely fun to see. I'll tell you what, it is really fun to see. And I'm trying to see here if the Red Sox are playing.
Well, they have to play the White Sox.
The White
eventually.
Sox.
They're in the same.
I'm looking to see if they're not. If they played already, clearly Sale won.
Yeah, he hasn't lost a game. He's 9-0.
So,
he's won all of his starts, which is interesting. He hasn't even had a no decision yet. So he's going for his 10th win in 10 starts.
So it looks like they lost.
They played them, but he didn't pitch.
No, it looks like he skipped them, huh? Yeah, they won 2 of 3 from that one, and I'm trying to find where they play them next, but they don't play them until June. So we'll see.
That's a 4-game series. You got to think if he's healthy, they're probably going to get him one time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, it's starting on June 20th to the 23rd. 4-game series there in
Boston.
Definitely something I would like to see.
Right. What do you think wins? Well, obviously,
we'll have to see where there's
wins in the World Series, but
believe me, I know that.
Yeah.
Being a Giants fan and all that, but no, we'll have to see.
Yeah, Bumgarner a couple of years ago.
Man, lights
That
out.
was crazy. I couldn't believe that.
You know what his World Series ERA is?
Isn't it like under 1?
0.33.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's lights out. But no, I'll have to see
Such
how.
a clutch pitcher.
Oh my God, yeah. I'll have to see how the Red Sox, if they're on pace for this kind of play still. And I'll have to see how Sale's doing.
We mentioned it, but there's like such a long season still. We're just
baseball is crazy because you really do have to look at it as two seasons almost. You have, my dad is very much one of those guys that'll be like, "Well, they're not going anywhere this season." I'm like, man, it's May. Like this team is not the team it's going to be in August.
When I look at baseball, I look at it as this. Every team's going to win 50, and every team is going to lose 50.
This is very true.
So then you have the other 62 games where you figure out what you're made of.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, because it's true. I mean, there's 162 games. Every team's going to win 50 and lose 50, and you have the other 62 to determine
who's really going to be the top
if you're
dog.
in the playoffs or if you're like the Atlanta Braves right now.
Yeah.
I can't believe I saw that. The Atlanta Braves are 2-17 at home. They have a home record of 2-17.
Chris Sale has more wins than they have wins at home.
He has 4 times as many wins than they have wins at home.
One more than 4 times.
4.5.
He's got 9. Close enough.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
I think that's the one thing I've never played baseball. I feel like baseball is probably the hardest sport to play because the amount of hand-eye coordination you have to have is honestly ridiculous.
It's weird. I was a catcher for the entire time I played baseball, and it's almost like you have it without having it. You don't realize that you do it. It's
about
crazy.
Like, trying to hit, though, like as a hitter.
Yeah, hitting was always – I wasn't the best hitter, but being a catcher kind of helped.
Yeah, I never played, so I find it like absolutely astonishing how these hitters, they have – like less than half a second to react to a pitch.
Oh, yeah.
That they can calculate, okay, that's a curveball. That's a changeup. That's going to be outside. That's going to be high.
Yeah, which makes it even crazier to think that some of these guys can be having a 27-game hitting streak.
Yeah, like it's crazy because in baseball, you have a 300 average is looked at as really good.
Yeah.
So you're failing 7 times out of 10,
yeah.
but yet you're doing a great job.
Exactly, yeah, you're hitting a third of the time.
Right.
It's crazy for me to think. And then you have guys that are batting 500, and you're like, that's not that great because he's only had 10 at bats. He's happened to hit for half of them.
Right. You just had a nice little home stand.
And it's crazy to look at because 5 out of 10 is an F.
Right.
But in baseball, that's great.
If you're hitting 5 out of 10, you're doing
what you're supposed to.
Way. I think Ted Williams hit 400 one year, didn't he?
I would have to look that up to be for sure.
If you're hitting 500, you're literally breaking the hitting. Average by an astronomical number.
If somebody has 500, they're not having very many at bats. No,
that will never happen.
That happened in a video game, maybe.
I don't even know if you could do that on MLB The Show.
I had like a 412
maybe if you're playing on
average
Rookie.
1 year. Yeah,
that's such a great game. I love that game.
Yeah, no, in the show 1 year I had like a 412 average.
Yeah,
but my guy was insane.
It's crazy. I mean, the things that these hitters can do is unbelievable. They can, like I said, they can determine what kind of pitch it is.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be outside, inside. Oh, I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna hit it down the line. I'm gonna bunt.
Yeah,
it's
crazy to think about.
I could never do it.
And it was pretty hard. But I don't want to get too much into the what could have beens.
We're all there in some aspect. I mean,
it's true. But we're all done for the day. So we're gonna
unfortunately, until next time.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll have plenty of these for you guys. We'll talk about what happens tonight on the next episode of our podcast and what goes down with the Warriors, and actually also the next game of the Toronto Cleveland series will have been played also. So we'll get you guys up to date with that next time we see you. But thank you again for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. You can find us online at gsmcpodcast.com, on iTunes as well at the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast, and you can search us under football, under MMA, and under sports. You'll find us there. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well if you go to GSMC_sports on Twitter.
And there's also so many more podcasts coming. So if you're listening, make sure you just follow all of them because they're all going to be great.
Ben and I have our own soccer one coming at you.
That's right.
We're starting this week, and I'm also on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. So there's one for everybody and every day of the week and every walk of life. But again, we'd like to thank you for listening. As always, I'm Alex.
And I am Ben.
And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
And goodbye.